Guys, give us 1 second so we can get this thing working. We have life on the pod.
All right, there we go. All right. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Dom and Gonz Sports Talk, the show where we not only talk about everything Ravens football related, but around the NFL. I'm Gonz. That's Dom over
I'm doing
there.
pretty good,
How you
man.
doing tonight, Dom?
It's a little hot in the crib, so I had to like de-hoodie so I can let the arms out, you know. Well, other than that, I'm over here
Oh, there you go.
I'm ready to get into some sports talk.
Great, because we got a
Nice.
lot. We got some things to talk about. A couple free agency updates. We've got, Dalvin Cook being released, that being the biggest headline because we know that, the Vikings, that was their guy over there. So it'll be interesting to see how they, run their backfield with. Okay, I'm not sure what happened, but I've returned. Apologies for that. I'm not sure, some technical difficulties. But as I was saying, Frank Clark signing to the Broncos, a rival squad. He came from Kansas City, played there for a long time. So he should be a nice addition to that Broncos pass rush for a nice little 1-year, $7.5 million deal. I was potentially thinking the Ravens could sign somebody like Frank Clark for very cheap. Just to help out that pass rush a little. But, I was all for, turning these young guys loose. But, it wouldn't hurt my feelings if we brought in a veteran pass rusher. Now that goes up to our next topic. We also, speaking of the Vikings, they've been kind of busy recently. Danielle Hunter has been on the trade block. Now that dude's pretty good. He's a Pro Bowler. He's had double-digit sacks, at least 10 in his last three out of 4 seasons. I think one of them he was injured, but that just shows he's been a force to be reckoned with on the defensive line. And, we always been talking about this. We need pressure to pressure the quarterback. So that kind of struck my eye a little bit. The Ravens have enough money after, signing Lamar and doing all their other stuff. They could potentially pull off a deal. I've seen some, articles relating the Ravens to maybe trying to work out something with the Vikings. But, at the end of the day, I still stand by what I said. Let's let our young guys develop and turn them loose. While it would be nice to sign somebody like that, a proven, edge threat in Danielle Hunter, let's get these young guys going.
Yeah, the Vikings
Let's
have
develop the
been,
in-house
I
talent
agree. The Vikings have
and
been
see what
very
happens.
busy in this offseason. They're vetting talks for Danielle Hunter, releasing Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook came as a surprise to me. I don't think you let somebody like that go. Unless it's money, but I think that goes to another conversation of how running backs are viewed money-wise. Like, I feel like
I forgot to say this. I'm sorry, Dom. I forgot to say this. You spoke about money. Dalvin Cook was going to be a 14 to 15 mil cap hit on them. So they saved a lot of money by getting rid of him. So,
yeah,
not the
not
worst move ever.
But I don't know. I just don't know if you let that kind of talent go. Dalvin Cook is a dynamic back who made great plays for them last year. I feel like he's been a top 5 rusher for a while now, and it just seems as though he's not being valued at what he should be valued at. Like, and I feel like that's what Saquon and the Giants are kind of going through right now, because I believe Saquon and them have not agreed on a deal yet. So for me, I don't agree with the Dalvin move. I just don't think you let him go. Obviously another team is probably going to value him. According to reports, he's asking for a huge contract. Don't know how huge that is. The number hasn't been dropped yet. But I don't know. That's not a move I agree with. I don't know if the Vikings are in rebuild mode. Is this a sign of rebuild? Because I mean, I guess Kirk Cousins is getting old. Are you thinking about his replacement? Are you kind of like, we're gonna let the season go a little down? Like, what is the Vikings moves here? I'm a little confused. You're getting rid, like,
I don't think so. So I think, I mean, they still got all their pieces on offense. I mean, yeah, they got rid of Thielen, but they got Jay Jetta, they got Addison in the draft. I mean, Irv Smith is an up and coming tight end. Did Tyler Conklin get? Oh, he played for. Never mind, he's still in the Jets. But and they still got that. I forget their running back right
Alexander
now.
Madison,
Was it
yeah.
Madison? Yeah, Alexander Madison. He was
Good.
pretty good when he came in last year. And Dalvin Cook has dealt with injuries, a lot. Even though he's been 1,000-yard rusher the past 4 seasons, I saw that. He's been effective. He has missed some time. So I feel like the Vikings might be going in the direction of a passing offense with a complementary run game. And they feel like that Alexander Madison could be that guy for now. And maybe they'll sign somebody for cheap. I'm not sure if they signed a running back this offseason.
I don't think so.
I'd have to
Not
look that up.
See them. I haven't seen them go after a replacement. I mean, if they're going with Madison, I can't.
But,
I mean, if that's who you think your guy is, I'm not going to sit here and try to. This is your franchise. I'm not going to tell you how to run your franchise.
If you're a Vikings fan, yeah, you might be disappointed a little that you lost Cook, but I wouldn't be down on it because your offense still is going to be good. I think that Madison will fill in nicely. They'll probably sign a veteran maybe before the season starts if they haven't done already. They've got their key pieces in there.
With the Vikings, it
for
wasn't really just offensively. Like defensively, they weren't really that good. Like it's like we've seen it. Like they gave up however many points the Colts. Mind you, they did come back in that game. One of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen in my life. But they were down like by a large margin in that Colts game, and they were giving up to a Colts team that was like not good last year. So, and then you're vetting trade talks for Daniil, who is pretty much your best pass rusher. So what do you? I don't know. I'm trying to get into the head of the Vikings, and I can't really figure it out. Like I don't.
I think it's a cap situation thing, honestly, because they must be tired of not having enough cap space. And they're going to have to pay these guys coming up soon.
Contract.
It's a monster deal. Yeah, and I don't know what they're going to do with Kirk Cousins, but they've got some young key pieces on there that they're going to have to re-sign. Yeah. So that might be what they're doing. And this year they still are definitely running for that division with the expected downgrade for Green Bay. The Bears aren't very good at this point. And, the Lions are kind of good, but they're still a little unproven. But I would say the Vikings are the definite front runners for the division for the second straight year. So I think they can afford a couple misses and still end up winning the division. So we'll see.
With Rodgers gone, I just feel like, anybody can take it at any point. And it would be nice to see somebody else step up. I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't mind seeing the Lions win the division this year. I think that would be kind of fun to see with their high-powered offense. Yeah.
I'll narrow down to those two. Those two teams should, be fighting. All right. So, yeah, that was pretty, that was pretty interesting. Vikings busy. So we'll see what happens in a few weeks with Daniil Hunter. Hopefully he gets traded to somebody not in the AFC, if he gets traded. Or, if the Ravens decide they really want him, that'd be fine with me also.
If I can give them that.
Right. Now, before we – oh, yeah, for sure, because we got some draft capital for next year. So before we move on to the Ravens news from, their voluntary mini camps this week as those wrapped up, we got to keep talking D-Hop. More updates on this D-Hop's situation. At this point, we already talked about all of this, with the Ravens related to D-Hop. I mean, I'm so tired of people saying the Ravens are on D-Hop's radar or D-Hop's on their radar. It is what it is. If you're going to sign him, do it. At this point, I don't care. I'm tired of hearing about it. He's got scheduled visits with the Titans, then the Patriots, both very wide receiver needy teams. So I could definitely see him signing with one of them. if they like what he sees. But yeah, as for Ravens and DeAndre Hopkins, I'm over that. I'm tired of talking about it. Let's focus on the guys we got. If you're gonna sign them, then do it. But I'm tired of this potential reunion. I'm tired of hearing about it. So just make a decision at this point. But I'm pretty sure D-Hop's going to sign with one of those two teams. I'd be surprised if he's still a
Yeah,
free
I don't
agent
think
by the start of
I'm
July.
not gonna lie though. If he wants to win now, I don't know. These are the two teams to do it. Like obviously, like if he signs with the Titans, I that just tells me he doesn't want to win right now. Like the Titans they don't have a squad. Like, and I'm not trying to sit here and belittle them. They're talented players. I get it, but bro, we don't know who. Right now is Ryan Tannehill, who didn't play that great last year. According to camp reports, Levis and Willis have been kind of struggling during camp. So I just don't think he goes there if he wants to win now. Now with the Patriots, it's just like they're the fourth best team in the division. Obviously, you have the Jets, who I don't even know who really takes that first place spot because I don't even know who to trust right now. The Bills are so inconsistent with how they want to play. Sometimes they want to show up. Sometimes they just want to suck. So I really don't know what Bills we're getting this year. Miami, if Tua can stay healthy, who knows? But he has to show me he can stay on the field because this concussion scare me. And then with the Jets, we have no idea what the Jets are with Rodgers. Like we haven't seen. Now if they had Zach Wilson, I could sit here and give you like a whole prediction how I feel like they're gonna do. But with Rodgers, obviously you have a huge upgraded quarterback. You have a new receiving core. Like they can probably take the division, but who knows? But like I don't even think the Patriots can match up to those. So if you want to win now, are these?
Can you refresh my memory? Did he say he wants to win now? I forgot. Has he mentioned that in the podcast?
When he mentioned the quarterbacks he wants to play with, I feel like he mentioned quarterbacks who can win now. You know what I mean? Like, and
yeah,
I don't know, man. I just don't know. I just don't think these are the two squads who you say, you know what, I'm gonna join and we're going for the bowl. Like, bro, this two.
Well, I know he can dominate on any quarterback. We've seen it in the past.
Right. I agree with you.
So at this point, D-Hop just sign or do something or media layoff, one of those two, because I'm just tired of hearing about it. I'm tired of the false hope for the Ravens. Like we've been, played and toyed with by the media for like weeks about signing D-Hop, starting with that Darius Slay stuff back on his podcast. Oh man, and that was so annoying. But yeah, it is what it is. We've got wide receivers. Let's see what they got. Now, speaking of Ravens wide receivers, do we have a lot? Yes, we do, obviously. But there was a scary situation developing in one of the final OTA practices as Harbaugh announced that Zay Flowers, here we go again, first-round pick wide receiver, injured in practice. Now, my question for you, Dom, and we'll start with you, is this a cause for major concern? Is the sky falling in Baltimore? Or can we just take a breath and relax?
I don't think the sky is falling in Baltimore.
What do you think?
I think obviously, we never want to see our guys go down during practice. It's not ideal before the season starts. But no, I don't think the sky is falling. Obviously, the way Harbaugh described it, he described it as a tweak. So he could be back for mandatory training camp this week. Harbaugh said he should be back for mandatory training camp this week. But it's just hard to trust the Ravens after Lamar's injury because they never really gave good descriptions on his injury, and he had to come out on Twitter and say, "Listen, this is what's wrong with me, and this is why I haven't played, and this is why I haven't been there." I wish the Ravens were more better at being more upfront about this stuff. Obviously they don't have to, but at the end of the day, it would be nice for them to let us know, like, hey, it's just a tweak. He'll be fine. We're just going to take every necessary precaution so this doesn't get worse or, he doesn't get himself more hurt in any type of way. But, no, I don't think the sky is falling. I just think this is just a minor mishap during mini camps, and he'll be back next week to, go long and, catch those passes, like, up front, But no, I don't think the sky is falling at all.
Okay, my turn. This is something that you have to be extremely, extremely cautious about because we all know what Harbaugh has, we know Harbaugh's history with the Ravens on injuries, especially with the wide receiver position. And I'm so fed up with these situations because I feel like I'm watching the same movie every single time we get a first round wide receiver. Let's go back to 2015. Brashad Perriman. I'm sure every Ravens fan watching this knows who it is. If you don't, go Google it. Brashad Perriman, injured in practice. I don't forget if it was training camp or a mini camp. I don't remember. But it was in the summer, nonetheless. Tweaked knee, according to Hardball. He should be back in a few days, day to day, weeks to week. Okay, he'll be back for the preseason and surgery and out for the year. I'm just, and then like you brought up Lamar Jackson. Oh, he's questionable to play on Sunday. He could even be back as early as practice this Thursday. Like, I don't think Harbaugh either it's a game that they play on purpose or he really doesn't know. I'm assuming he knows he just likes to do this on purpose. I really don't think that they're that not in the loop. We all know how the Ravens are with injuries. They do not express the clarity of what's going on, and then as fans, you just don't know what you're expecting. If you're going to sit here, I think, in my opinion, if you're going to sit here and say, "Oh, Zay Flowers is okay, and we'll see him next week," I think you need to wait and see. You really need to wait and see because I'm not going to take any word for Harbaugh or the Ravens until I see Zay Flowers out there fully running, doing his thing. My thoughts, I don't know if he's going to be out there fully because you need to be extremely careful with these type of soft tissue injuries. If you're not careful, you could damage it pretty, even worse. And then he'll be out for weeks or a month, and we don't need that. We really don't need that. We all saw what happened with Bateman last year. Bateman. Let's add him to the list. Got hurt in practice. Bateman's rookie years. Let's back up to 2021. Hurt in practice, out for the first 7 games or 6 games, I forget. But significant missed time on the field. We don't want that to happen for Zay Flowers at all because, then we're kind of shorthanded. I don't want to go back to square one with that many injuries like we did a few years ago. Let's take this extremely cautious. And yes, I'm not going to sit here and say the sky is falling, but you need to be very cautious with this kind of thing. Maybe he shouldn't be on the field. Maybe he should just rest until he's 100%. Maybe they shouldn't force him back into practice because that would the worst thing that could happen is us reading an article saying re-aggravated injury and he is carted off the field. We need to take this extremely careful to avoid what's going on. And I hope it's not like last year, and I hope that it's actually day to day, but I just can't. I don't know what to expect because I just don't. I've seen this movie way too many times, and it's not good. So Ravens, just do what you got to do. But I'm not going to hold any. I'm not going to be calm. I'm not going to say the sky's falling, like I said, but I'm not going to be calm about it until I see him on the field, practicing, doing his thing, whether that be a week or 2 weeks. But, yeah. And come on, dude. Practice injuries. I know athletes get hurt whenever, but I just can't. Like, non-contact, those are the bad type of injuries. Because we don't got pads on right now. The Ravens have no pads. This is voluntary OTAs. Voluntary mini camps. The required mandatory mini camp starts, I believe, on Tuesday. So it could ramp up a little bit because the full roster is expected to be there. And, Harbaugh said it, but we can't be sure until we see him on the field doing things. So, I don't know. The Ravens are just cursed with this kind of stuff. They really are when it comes to first-round wide receivers. So be cautiously optimistic with this situation and be extremely careful. Treat him like he's a glass china doll. Wrap him up in paper and be very careful, because we cannot afford another first-round wide receiver missing extended playing time, especially this year when we're going all in to win it.
I have
be
a
extreme.
little more faith. I have a little faith in things being different this year, only because I feel as though this new staff is gonna proceed with a lot more caution than last year's staff did. Like
They better.
we don't know how it happened. We don't know what caused the injury, but at the end of the day, like, you know, I'm trying to like hold out hope that with the changes that have been made, things will be different. Now, obviously, I think we both agree with the fact that the Ravens, if the injury turns out to be more than we think it is, the Ravens need to be more upfront with fans, because like saying, oh, I mean, like Harbaugh's on the mic and he's just sitting there like, oh, I mean, well, like, you know, I mean, we don't really know for sure, but you know, you have to know Harbaugh. Like these are your guys. Like we know they're in the loop. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I feel as though if the injury is more severe than they think it is, or than we think it is, then obviously, you know, just be upfront. I just feel as though transparency is important when you're contacting a fan base or when you're trying to disperse information that, I mean, obviously that everyone wants to know. So if we can just have transparency this year and like, you know, just tell us up front, like just peel the Band-Aid off as quickly as possible, we'll be fine. But it's just that, like you said before, we have trust issues because it's been proven to us before that, you know, that they haven't really been straight up with us. So at the end of the day, I'm just holding out hope that Zay will be all right. We should see him on the practice field this week, hopefully, and they can get right back on track with the full roster.
If he's still hurting, do not put him out there. Don't lie about what's going on. If he's still gimping around and a little bit sore, don't even risk it.
I would say, like, you know, just let him rest, let him heal as much as possible for him to be able to come back at full strength, because that's what we need. Like, that's what we've lacked these past 2 years. We've lacked full strength on our team. And this year has to be the year we have our full strength. So just take every necessary precaution.
And again, 5'9", tiny little receiver getting hurt in non-contact practices, it really scares me. It really, really scares me. Hollywood Brown was hurt his rookie year, but he still had a pretty good year, but he was dealing with that foot injury. So everyone is hurt. All our wide receivers get hurt. All these first round. It's just a trend, a bad trend. But yeah, I'm not. And this is a guy that said he could do it all. He could catch it underneath. He can go deep. He can do the intermediates. He can move with the ball in his hands. And not only have analysts said that, he said that on the mic too. He said he's the Swiss Army knife. He could do it all. You can't do nothing when you're not on the field. You can't do nothing when you're not on the field. So you need to heal up, not get hurt in little tiny non-contact practices. These are supposed to be times where you learn the offense without any defenders tackling you or, you know, crashing down on you. And then I don't like it. I'm not going to say the world's ending in Baltimore, but I am a little bit skeptical and a tiny bit nervous.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. But I will. That's the last point, and I'm going to reiterate this. I trust nothing with the Ravens when it comes to what they say about injuries. Not until I see it, you know, see if
they haven't really done much to validate.
That's what
validate to give your trust. So I can't really get mad at you for not having it.
In summary, Dom's not as concerned. Gonz pretty concerned, but the sky is not falling in both of our.
I'm only not as concerned due to staffing changes. If it was the old staff, I'd be very, very concerned. But with the changes, I think that this is different. I feel like this is different. I feel like it could be different. I feel like it could.
That's a good point. That's a good point. My rebuttal to that is, who's the head coach?
Valid points. You made valid points.
Who's the head coach, Tom?
You're right. It's Harbaugh. It's John Harbaugh. We will see. We'll see.
The common factor. So, please. I'm hoping for the best, but I ain't gonna say
Yeah,
it's all good till I
it's
see
true.
it
This is a see it
myself.
to believe it kind of thing. If he's
Yep.
not limited during practices this
Yep.
week, that's gonna say a lot. Like if he's able to go full practice, and he has like fully recovered from whatever the tweak was, I mean that's just saying that's gonna do wonders for us. But if he's limited during practice, that does raise a little bit of cause for concern.
Yeah. All right. So the final thing we're going to talk about before we head out for the evening is we're going to finish up our AFC North predictions. And we were able to go through and talk about the Bengals, how they're probably going to be the most, dominant team to challenge the Baltimore Ravens for the AFC North title. We had them going, I believe, 11-6, both of us. We talked about the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though they've got, upgrades at certain positions with their offensive tackle, for example, and a nice tight end, and, Kenny Pickett year 2. They still got TJ Watt, but we discussed and came to the conclusion that they're not going to be that much
I
better.
think
I believe
did,
Dom had
yeah.
them at 10-7, which is
Yeah.
one better than they usually are. And I still think they're going to go 9-8. They're going to start out really bad, build their way up at the end, try to make a push, but you can't do that when you start 2-6.
True.
And I think that's what they're in. Now the final team, and perhaps the most interesting team in the AFC North that we need to discuss, is the Cleveland Browns. So at first, and we talked about 2 weeks ago when I was streaming from my beach house, we talked about Deshaun Watson's resurgence and how we both were in agreement that he won't step back into his dominant self, and therefore the Browns will struggle a bit and probably not make it. I kind of thought about it a little, and not about Deshaun Watson, but just about the Cleveland Browns roster as a whole. They are really good. Like, they are a well roster. Offense, they signed Amari Cooper last year. He had a pretty good year. That established number one wideout. They've got also other guys there. They have Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's rounded into form over the past few seasons, became pretty trustworthy. They've also got that speedster who, is trying to take the next step, Anthony Schwartz. Shorter guy, lots of speed, has missed time due to injury, but, he'll be having a fully healthy offseason. And then that's not even talking about their dominant backfield. Nick Chubb, always a consistent runner with the football, always has his moments each season gashing the Ravens. Offensive line, very good offensive line. Pretty good pass blocking, although they struggled a little bit when Deshaun Watson took over. But some of that is on him because Watson is known to hold the ball forever and take some really bad sacks. But when they had Brissett back there, he was pretty good. Actually, I thought Brissett did a decent job last year. The Browns ran a lot of games last year, but, sketchy quarterback play. Yes, I said Brissett did a nice job for the most part, but, he also had some issues where just bad reads or, silly mistakes to kill the Browns' chances of winning. I really think that this team, if they can get quarterback play, and I'm talking offense, I haven't even went over the defensive side of the ball. If Watson, all he needs to do is play average football, they could be pretty scary. If Nick Chubb can continue to run well on that powerful offensive line, there's no reason why this team can't win at least 10 games.
Themselves on the foot.
So, nervous. Yeah, Matt, what's up, Max? 10. Yeah, he echoed what I just said. 10-7. I mean, they're gonna have to make some. They're gonna have to be like last year to finish below average, under 500, because they had so many wins last year, Dom, where they just were the better team, outplaying some people, and then just losing at the very end. They had some good moments last year too. They blew out the Bengals on Monday Night Football. They got a slugfest win over the Ravens. They beat the Steelers. They split with the AFC North. They went literally 3-3. Usually when you split your division, that's enough to do something. But they kind of scare me. And then that's not even talking about the other side of the ball with Myles Garrett, who's an insane player. Young cornerbacks who've developed. Denzel Ward, he still plays for them, right? Did they lose somebody? Did they lose
No,
Greg Newsome or Greedy Williams?
Greg Newsome
I think
is still
Greedy
there.
Williams left.
He's still there.
Okay.
Also, they added Chris Westry, former Raven.
Hey, we know who that is.
Judging by their roster, it doesn't look like they still have Greedy. So I don't think Greedy plays for them anymore. But Greg Newsome is there. Denzel Ward is there. Chris Westry is there. Grant Delpit at safety is still there. Bubba Bolden, so most of their secondary is still intact.
Yeah. So they've got a lot of people intact. I mean, yes, they lose. And then we look at their draft picks. Siaki Ika, I believe, right? No, wait. Who's their first
Remember
round
they
pick
didn't
again?
have.
I forget who it was. They didn't, but they did draft that big DT who I just said to clog up the middle.
Siaki Ika, yes, from Baylor. Their third round pick. They picked him at pick 35.
Yeah, I was right. Sorry. I've heard comparisons for him to what's his name, Vita Vea. How big he is, he can clog up the middle, stuff the run game, and then you got Myles Garrett on the outside. Oh man, this team is kind of stacked on the low, Dom. So I hope they don't resurge, but all the signs are pointing that they should. And Deshaun Watson gets a full offseason. If he don't even have to be a superstar. Like I said, he doesn't have to be Superman like he did on the Texans. This team could carry him a little bit. If he can just be a game manager like Alex Smith was for, the Chiefs and the Commanders, they could be decent enough to squeak into the playoffs. All right, so let's take a quick glance at their schedule. Starting off with the Bengals, they should lose that. Then they got the Steelers at home. Or no, Steelers on the road. They'll probably lose that. But, again, it's early season. I could see them stringing together some wins here. Then they got Tennessee. They should see. Then they got us at home. I have us losing that. Yeah. All the beginning. I had us losing either the Steelers or the Browns game. But they play us tough in Cleveland. They've won the last two matchups. I'm going to say win for Browns. 49ers at the Browns home. Again, the Browns are one of those teams. You just don't know which team's going to show up. The dominant team or, the sloppy team.
Yeah, I'll say San Fran.
I'll say Niners because. But I would not be surprised. Then they've got a slew of winnable games. Yeah. Colts, Seahawks, Cardinals. I'm going to say wins for all of those.
I think they could lose in Seattle. I think they could lose in Seattle.
I'm not sold.
I think that they lose in Seattle. I feel that they win at Indianapolis, lose in Seattle, win at home against Arizona.
Yeah. Now, it's they could beat the Steelers also, so that's a toss-up. These are our opinions. These are our opinions, so don't bash us. I've got them at 4-2 at that point. Then they've got us at our home. I'll say 4-3. Rematch with the Steelers. They will win that 5-3. Broncos.
So I don't know what Broncos we're getting this year. So it's kind of hard to determine. If we're going off last year, the Browns should win this one pretty easily. But if Russell Wilson is improved, it could be a slugfest.
6-3, and then Rams. Oh my gosh, 7-3.
I think they
Jacksonville at home.
You think they win that?
I think they win that. I'm not so Jags either. And it's at Cleveland's home. I think Cleveland plays better at home as well. Don't forget about that. Geez, they're going to be 7-3. Yeah, I don't know. Then at the end, Bears, Texans. Games, those are both easy wins.
And the funny thing is, the Texans game is at Houston, so Deshaun Watson's getting a reunion tour back in Houston. Uh, but those are two. Those
Yeah.
are probably two wins. Uh, Jets, I
Yep.
think they fall in prime.
Okay. You said earlier we're not
Yeah,
sure what Jets team we're going to get. Aaron Rodgers, if Aaron Rodgers can revert back to himself, or not even fully himself, because they have a clean roster as well. I feel like the Browns and the Jets are very similar because they both have well-built rosters, but have struggled with quarterback play recently. So if these quarterbacks can step up and play good football,
yeah.
watch out for these guys. And then finish the year at Bengals. That game may mean something. It may not. But I think the Bengals will take that if there's any meaning to
You
it.
should take that one. Yeah.
Bengals should definitely win that. So I have those 3 losses plus 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so I have
Yeah,
them at
because
10 and 7.
you definitely have them starting out way better
Um,
than I do. Because for the first 4 games, I had them going like 1-3, and
yeah, I
and yeah. Let me see. So I had them going 1-3, lose Cincinnati, lose in Pittsburgh, win in Tennessee, lose against us, lose against the Niners. So they're already like 1-4. Yeah, I don't know. They gotta show me something. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I start. Yeah, I think they start 2 and 3, taking losses to. I'm not sold that we're going to win that one. I just don't. I don't know. It's in Cleveland. I think they're for sure lose to the Niners or and the Bengals, and most likely the Steelers because it's at Pittsburgh. So 2 and 3 right there. So yeah, we're in
Yeah,
agreement for that. Oh, well, you're at 1 and 4, but yeah, we can agree that they will start below average. But again, you just don't know with this
yeah,
team. Like you never know with this team. The Browns can be sneaky good sometimes. Even in 2021, when they, at one point they were 6-6 before they collapsed at the end of the season. They took that L to us in that sloppy 13-10 Sunday night football game before we lost out the rest of the year. They were in the running at the end, and you
yeah,
just don't know who we're going to get, is what I'm saying. But we do know that their roster is very talented on both sides of the ball, and they've got proven playmakers that have done, had pretty good seasons recently. And even their tight end,
No,
is Njoku still there, or did he
Joku, I believe, is
leave?
still there. He should still be there. Uh,
Uh, if I hope, but even him, he struggled a little bit early in his career with some drops and inconsistencies,
yeah,
but
he
he's
just dealt with a
rounded
lot
into a
of
pretty good
injuries.
tight end too. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, he's done. They've got
yeah,
people in every
they got
position.
it, but can they
So,
perform? These are the questions. Like they got
right?
to show me something.
Do they have their guy in Watson to make them that actual threat for the playoffs? Can they get consistent quarterback play? They dumped all their life savings into it, so they're banking on Watson being
Yeah,
that guy. So we'll see.
they
I hope he
definitely have to
doesn't.
show me something.
Now,
If they miraculously beat the Bengals,
to go
if
back,
if they miraculously
oh, go
beat the
ahead. My bad.
Bengals week 1, now mind you, that doesn't really say too much because the Bengals struggled last year to start the season. But
That's
I mean, if they start
true.
off hot, I'd be a little scared. But yeah, going off the evidence from last year, they definitely got to show me something. Like they have the roster to do it, but if they don't execute, it's a waste of money and it's a waste of time. Honestly, like
Yeah.
they have winnable games, but like Cincy, us, Jacksonville, New York. I mean, these are San Fran, Seattle. Like they're gonna have to compete, and if they can't do it, these are good rosters they're going up against. If they can't do it, like the Watson, all that stuff is a waste of time. Like you
Here's my last thought. They have a tough, like we said, they have a brutal opening, like 6 games. Like those are going to be very difficult. Bengals, Steelers, Titans, Ravens, and 49ers. Those are their first 5. Those, if they don't start at least 3-2 or 2-3, they might have issues. If they go 1-4, like you said, or lose all of them, 0-5, it'll be very tough for them to climb out of that. Well, they should beat the Titans. The Titans are pretty bad. But if they lose all the rest of them, and start 1-4, like you said, that'll be difficult. And yes, I'm not sold on Seattle, but that
Yeah,
doesn't mean that
like
they're not good. My opinion, I don't know if they're going to be that amazing, but if they have any good consistent play from Geno Smith, was that a one-year wonder, one-hit wonder, or is he actually pretty good? We'll see. If he's that good, then they could definitely lose that because it is in Seattle. So they could potentially only have one win by that point going into there. And that being the Titans, because then they got the Colts and the Cardinals, which should be easier. I think their schedule definitely lightens up at the end. A lot of the teams at the end, like we said, the Jets and the Jags are unproven. Are like, can we, especially the Jets. The Jaguars, yeah, they got hot last year, but can they sustain that play from Trevor Lawrence? I'm not sure. Bears, Texans, those are all wins. Like Rams, I'm not sold on them either. So I feel like I feel like that the beginning is going to dictate their season. The brutal strip dictate how they're going. So I'm hopefully they'll start 1-5 or something.
Like I said, I'm
1-4.
going off of history here, and even with Watson, they weren't playing well last year. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt because he didn't play all season, but like I said, they got to show me something. Like this is, if there's any team in the AFC North I'm not scared of, it's right now it's them. And if they prove me wrong this year, I'll be the first one to admit it. I'll come on here and tell you guys, listen, man, I was wrong. Browns are out here killing it. But if they, I just can't believe it until I see it.
Okay.
I'll see it when the season starts.
So you're
I'd
more
rather
scared
be
of
more
Pittsburgh
scared of Pittsburgh
than Cleveland.
Number one, Pittsburgh has Mike Tomlin. Cleveland does.
Okay.
That's all. Like other than that, it's all like the Browns don't really care me. It's Bengals, Steelers, Browns. That's the levels of fear, the rankings of fear that I have right now as far as teams.
I'm Bengals, Browns, Steelers. If we follow my predictions, we said the Ravens are going to go 13-4, or 12-5. Bengals are going to go 11-6. I said the Browns are going to go 10-7, and Steelers finish at last 9-8. That would be actually super tough because that would mean everyone's above average. So that would make it
maybe one of the
harder
toughest
to win.
divisions in football next to the AFC East.
Yeah, so that would make every clash hard. And I'm actually pretty happy that the Ravens get all those road games out of the way early against, the Browns, Steelers, Browns, Steelers, Bengals. And then all the rest of the time they're playing either NFC opponents and then home divisional games back when it matters, instead of having to go to Pittsburgh and Cleveland in week 15 and 16 like we did last year and the year before, where we had those late away games that we just had no chance of winning. So maybe we could build some momentum at the end of the year and go into December winning games as opposed to winning every game in September and then limping into the playoffs in January and going one and done. So this will be interesting. I know the Browns off or the relaxes at the end of the year too. Now, if the Jaguars and Jets end up being big threats, then I could definitely mark them down as winning those games against the Browns, and that would drop the Browns down to 9 losses, 8-9. So again, we'll see. But for the Ravens, I think that their schedule's brutal too at the beginning because of those division games. But I'm confident that they have a much better chance this year than the past two to snowball those wins at the end of the year into January with a bunch of home games. With the I
agree. I just think we're probably gonna, if we can stay healthy, I think we're probably gonna stay at the top of the rock. We'll retake our place at the top of the AFC North, and just try to make our way to a bowl. I think that's the ultimate goal here. I think, like we discussed multiple times, is winner go home. Like, this is the year. It's win or go home. We've
Yeah.
invested a lot of assets into some players, spent money on players, signed Lamar. This is it. Like, we have to be top dog, and we have to get back to top dog status. And I feel as though this year has to be the year to do that.
If they can win at least one of those 3 away games at the beginning of the year, that sets them up good. Because, well, I'm assuming they're going to win all the home ones because they got to win the home.
So.
Oh, man, if they win all of those, I think that would be huge. I think because that would leave nothing but home games in the division. But I think 2 would be generous. But if they can steal one of those, whether that be Bengals, Browns, Steelers, they have a much better chance to go 4-2 later in the year in the division. But oh my gosh, if they went 3-0 to start the year in the division,
really nice.
that would be leaving with all those December division games. Oh yeah. So I know. Let's go 13. Let's just get a home playoff.
Let's go out there and get wins. Like, that's all I want, man. All I want is W's.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
Well, all right. So I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up. There you have it. There's our AFC North predictions. Our way too early AFC North predictions that we're making here in June. Obviously, I think we're going to revisit this topic maybe a couple weeks before the season, after we see these teams do a little bit more develop, make some more moves, maybe sign some more people. We'll see. But it's always fun to get a way too early start, now that we hit sort of that dead zone after, the draft, between the off season. So, we're about to start our mandatory minicamp starts for Baltimore on Tuesday, and it runs through Thursday, I think. And then we won't see them again until training camp. So we'll see how they do. Let's see how many people show up to mandatory camp. This will be hopefully our first glimpse at Odell Beckham Jr. in a Ravens uniform. Zay Flowers, we'll see how that turns out. But, yeah, we'll keep you posted. We'll be listening and watching, keeping everybody updated with that Ravens talk or Ravens news. So, yeah, I think we're ready to close out. Dom,
so I did want to answer a quick question we had in the chat from Kyle here. You think a different head coach is going to make a change? Who would you want then? I'm going to answer that really quickly because I know we're running out of time. As far as a head coach, I think a different head coach would go. I don't know. I like Harbaugh. Harbaugh's been there for so long. You kind of just. I know a lot of people who don't like Harbaugh, but he's been there for so long. It's kind of like he's kind of the Ravens culture at this point. But I don't know. I never really thought about Harbaugh's replacement. I haven't thought he's going to be there obviously until he freaking retires. I don't really see him leaving anytime soon in life. But I feel as though I just need Harbaugh to give us transparency. That's the only thing I'd probably change about Harbaugh. He gives the players. I feel like he gives a lot of players the power to do whatever they want to do. We saw Lamar. Hey, you want to go for it on 4th down? Oh, yeah, coach. You know what I mean? And so moments like that, that's the things we love to see. But I haven't really thought about Harbaugh's replacement yet. He's gonna be the coach till he's in a wheelchair. That's probably how I see it. So, yeah.
He needs to start winning in the playoffs, or else his job could be in jeopardy. And I think the Ravens are being very, very generous to him recently for the lack of playoff wins, and they just continue to extend him. We need some production here. We really do. In past since 2014, so that's 9 years, 8 years. One singular playoff win.
It's got to be. You have to produce, especially with the dynamic talents that we have. You have to be able to produce.
Thank you for pointing that out. I'm glad. I did not even see that. That comment disappeared on my screen, so now I'm looking at it now. So sorry about that, Kyle. Thanks for pointing that out, Dom. Because that's actually a really good question. Because I always bring that up about Harbaugh, his job security and everything. Yeah. But yeah, as of now, he's safe. It would be kind of weird if he wait. But
it would be weird if he did
start
get
with.
fired because they're neighbors. The Costa and Harbaugh are neighbors, so that'd be kind of awkward if they.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Oh man. But
oh
that's all for me.
man. All right. Oh,
I'm saying that was all for me.
sorry.
That's all
What'd
I
you say,
got.
Dom?
Here's the hoping that mandatory
Okay.
camps go well, no more injuries, and we stay healthy this year.
Yeah, we had a lot of. This was a fun show. We talked a lot about different things. I'm excited. AFC always breaking down the AFC North is always a lot of fun. Um, so yeah, thanks again for spending your Sunday evening with us tonight. If you're on YouTube, if you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe down below. And comment down below and in the YouTube comments anything you think that we should talk about, or anything regarding your favorite team that you think we should talk about, because we're always open to suggestions from anybody. Because again, this is a show where we try not to only focus on Ravens, while we do focus a lot on them because that's our favorite team. We definitely would be open to talking about other teams around the league and their off seasons. So feel free to comment that down below. So again, thanks again, and Dom and Gonz are gonna probably head out here. So we're gonna go
Good
ahead and
night,
sign
guys.
out. Take care, everybody.